You're watching SBA Today. With all the latest news, stories, and advice, here are your hosts, Paul Long and Tanya Mazurek.
Good morning. I'm back.
Paul
and
is
then
back.
Tanya, where's Tanya? Oh, there she
There
is,
she is.
doing her civic duty of
Oh my.
jury duty. But hey, welcome to SBA Today, presented by Res Title, your SBA Title Experts for the week of August 25th. And again, I am Paul, back from vacation, and I am glad and always glad to be in company with the amazing SBA Godfather, Mr. Lance Sexton. Good morning, buddy.
It's incredible to be here, Paul. You're on.
Habits die hard, don't they?
I almost said Bob.
I know you did.
I've done so many shows with Bob Coleman. It's just kind of imprinted, but it's great to be with you here today, Paul. And I enjoyed following you while you were on vacation.
Oh, well, thank you. It was a lot of fun. I needed it because I think I was going to blow. You ask my team members. Well, hey, let's jump into the news. My heart broke last week. The big news out there is Ginger Allen is out at the SBA effective last Friday. This is a huge blow to the SBA industry. She has so many years of experience. She is like the main person on the career side of the SBA. She was a great person to go to. She attended any conference she could to share information. I literally was sad to see that email, and a small little bit of me would love to know the real reason why she's leaving. Anyway, Lance.
I have heard things, but
let's do that over a beer.
Yeah. Well,
what was your history with her, Lance?
So I don't have an extensive history with Ginger. I just know she was a great SBA leader and gave a lot back to the industry. And I'm certainly going to miss her being a part of SBA. And I think my biggest concern about a loss like this, Paul, is, you think about, we lost John Miller recently to retirement. And you take, and my old boss, Nikki Carrington, who was director of Little Rock Commercial Loan Servicing Center, took the retirement. You take those three people and you've got more than almost 100 years of SBA knowledge and experience.
I believe it.
That has exited. And and times change and administrations change and people change, but you just hate using or losing all that institutional knowledge that these people have. And Ginger certainly was one of those that I respected and, didn't always agree with, but
right.
That's okay. I've never always agreed with everyone at SBA. I always felt like she had SBA's best interest at heart. And again, losing someone with this level of experience is hard.
Yep,
but
I completely agree.
SBA will retool and they'll put somebody in that post, and we will move on down the road.
That is absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Well, some other things that were kind of happening in the news here this last week is Towne Bank and Dogwood State Bank are merging. I thought that was a pretty big deal on there. They're calling it a merger of equals. We all know that that's not always the case. But it looks like Towne Bank is the acquirer based on what I was seeing. And so it'll be interesting to see kind of how that works. I definitely wish them all the best. They have a great SBA department, great team. I know quite a few people over there. Anytime you do a merger, it's brace yourself, right? You haven't been through any mergers in your career, right, Lance?
Yeah, not just mergers, Paul, but we're seeing some movement in the SBA industry. It doesn't take going too far back in history to kind of think about what's going on. Back when we had the Great Recession and we had banks out there gobbling up other banks, and you'd have $1 billion bank that was suddenly a 30 or $40 billion bank through acquisition. We are seeing SBA departments that are closing, but we're seeing other people jump on that. News, there was a bank in Florida whose SBA department is no longer in existence. There's another bank I'm aware of that I can't mention today that shut their SBA department down recently. But for us SBA lenders that are out there, there's opportunity. There's portfolios that could be acquired. There's opportunities with borrowers that are not being met. So, we have to look as good SBA citizens, Paul, at ways that we can, because everyone's objective is to take care of small business owners, to help
Absolutely.
small business owners succeed. So if one unit is merged and it causes a gap in service, other people will move into that space. If somebody shuts a department down, that could be more opportunity for your institution to pursue SBA opportunities in their market. So, with change comes opportunity.
100%, 100%. And I think especially, as we start to kind of see a little bit of, increase in I cannot think this morning. Delinquencies. That was the word I was looking for. We start to see that, people start to say, oh, okay, okay, let's shut it down. Right. And it's a long game. Right. And I think this is where, I'll be honest. I think credit unions have a lot of opportunity because of the not-for-profit status and the giving in the community, etc., that there's an opportunity on there. But, don't every credit union, start an SBA department, because it's not easy to do. Trust me.
And one thing, Paul, that I would always mention to SBA participant lenders, and this just is from 40 years of doing this. You're either in the game or you're not. You can't dabble in SBA. You have to make a decision. Yep. We're going to pursue this. It can be an incredibly profitable line for your institution, but you can't dabble. You can't jump in and do a few here and a few there. If you want to be involved in SBA lending, you need to jump in the deep end, for lack of a better description, Paul. Not just develop the sales side of your house, but develop the servicing and liquidation and administrative side of the house. And it can be an incredibly profitable line of business for any financial institution. But again, you can't dabble. You've got to jump in full-fledged.
Well, and this is also where, partnering with other companies on things that, you may have somebody that's good at SBA to kind of start the division, but that's why we have LSPs.
Yes.
Like Phoenix, that can, assist other institutions with that. So,
well, again, and that's you bring up an excellent point, Paul. The smaller institutions may say, well, I can't jump in full-fledged. I can't commit that much money to an SBA department. That's why LSPs exist, to provide 100%. Smaller institutions that want to be involved with SBA lending, to provide them the back office support and the knowledge and assistance to be able to jump in and be aggressive at pursuing SBA lending.
And kids, by the way, there's a lot of work on the back end. It's not just a few BDOs and let's get stuff done. In a lot of cases, you have more back end than you do front end.
Well,
it's SBA.
Well, and one of the most common things you see in a new group is they will focus on the sales side and forget about servicing until it becomes a problem. And, I always like to throw this example, Paul, out. The BDOs and the closers see the SBA loan for a period of months. The servicing and liquidation teams see the loans for years, 10 years, 15 years.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, random question, because you brought that up. I thought I read somewhere a long time ago that the average SBA loan is actually how it stays on the books is anywhere from 3 to 5 years. Do you know if that's still the case?
I don't know if that's still the case,
Okay.
Paul, and part of the reason I would think that it's longer is because of
Mm,
secondary market sales. And secondary market
true.
sales
True.
encourage lenders to look for those 25-year prime plus three quarterly
Absolutely.
floats because they maximize the premium on that sell in the secondary market.
Yeah.
I do believe, Paul, historically, that number's probably pretty accurate. And honestly, guys, if we get in and do an SBA loan and it pays off in 3 or 4 years because they've gotten healthy and strong and can go out and get standard bank
Go do
financing,
it.
that's what the whole purpose is.
Amen.
Our purpose is to get somebody into business or to help someone acquire a business. And if they get strong and don't need the SBA program anymore, we've accomplished our purpose.
Agreed. Absolutely. So, a couple other things that are brewing in the news. National Small Business Week, they are accepting nominations for businesses. I strongly recommend you guys to look at the loans you did in the last couple of years and see if there's somebody that a borrower that is just like, you know what, they deserve that. And there's some paperwork to it, just like anything. It's worth it.
Oh
I've
yeah,
done it myself. I've had a winner. I'm sure you've had some in your days there, Lance. It's
I
a
even
really nice feather in that borrower's cap and kind of in your own too, really.
I even have a couple of family members that have received the state level awards in Arkansas. My brother got the Young Entrepreneur of the Year award, and my dad once received the award for whatever the Small Business of the Year. So I have
Ah,
family
gotcha.
members that have, and several clients that have successfully won those awards. So please nominate your people.
Now I gotta ask, just because I know your history, Lance, is one of them from the Radio Shack business?
Actually, the fun part, Paul, is my dad at 84 years old still owns a Radio Shack. And Radio Shack,
What?
many of
Today?
today, many of you,
What?
many of you think Radio Shack no longer exists because Radio
Yeah.
Shack filed bankruptcy, but the people who bought the name and the rights to Radio Shack now have reopened the Radio Shack concept. Our store never closed. My dad still has it. He's
Wow.
right now as we speak, Paul. He's probably selling a package of Radio Shack branded batteries to a
I
customer,
was thinking that same thing.
or he might be selling a capacitor, resistor, whatever. But
Some
Radio
random
Shack,
cord that you can't get
yeah,
anywhere else.
it still exists. And you know what's beautiful about Radio Shack? Radio Shack was very successful when they had the motto,
Yeah,
"You've got questions, we've got answers."
that's
And then
true.
they
I
got
forgot.
away from that and they got in trouble. Well, guess what they're coming back to? You've got questions, we've got answers.
That's the story of life. Things go away and they always come back. Well, hey, a couple that kind of to finish up on this is one thing I always do is I'm kind of looking to see what SBA is focusing on in the future. And one way that I do that is I look at the House and Senate Small Business Committee's agendas. I'm a nerd, sorry. You guys know that. But I wanted to share this because I mean it's kind of a tool of what's kind of going on.
Oh, yeah.
So, like for example, in September, they're talking about pathways to capital, the role of SBA lending in supporting Main Street America. Now, with that title, I'm really not sure what they're going to talk about. It could be just a
Yeah.
political wave the flag thing. The next one, though, I think was interesting, and that is contracting and infrastructure, leveling the playing field and fostering opportunities for small business contractors. Now, that does not surprise me at all when you think about manufacturing, which is such a big focus. And then you have contractors that build the buildings and build. That's I think that's where we're going to start seeing
Yes.
the next pillar, we'll call it, of SBA. We got manufacturing. We have the new loan that's coming out. I'm sorry, what's it called, Steve?
It's
Shoot. Well,
I can't remember either, Paul.
I forgot what it was too. But yeah, the manufacturing line. So is there going to be something for contractors? I am a betting man, and I would put some money on that line.
Well, in the old 8A contracting program that we don't know much
Correct.
about, and I'm going to be real honest with you guys, I don't know a ton about it, but
Yeah.
we may see some reemphasis in that program and maybe some changes that make it fit small business contractors that are working on small business development projects like manufacturing businesses.
Yep. And they kind of go hand in hand. Yep. And then last but not least, Wired for Growth, how expanding broadband can revitalize rural small businesses. Interesting. But it's weird. It's almost like you need contractors to do that.
Absolutely.
Well, last but not least, I just want to share Biz Buy Sell came out with their quarter two insights. And it's very interesting. But as I was really diving into it, it wasn't that shocking to me. And that is the transactions, business acquisition transactions overall has fallen 4% year over year, with a 1% quarter over quarter drop. I think that has maybe something to do with, the economy, interest rates. I think in my opinion, this is Paul Long's crystal ball, but for Q4, because there's going to be a couple rate drops, we all know that.
Yeah.
I think that's going to tick that back up, and I think we're going to end the year pretty well. Would you agree with that, Lance?
I would agree, Paul. And the other thing I would, when I looked at the information in the report, we've had a very robust business acquisition market for SBA lending and just for people buying and selling businesses for the last 2 or 3 years. And, combination of things that Paul mentioned, the economy, interest rates being where they're at. As we see interest rates come back down, we might see that. But part of it, Paul, I think, is we had so many business acquisition deals that came through over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
That maybe it's just taking a pause, a short, brief pause. And it's going to pick back up, guys, because as long as they're old gray-headed people working toward the end of their career, I look, Paul, another family member, my brother who won Young Entrepreneur of the Year many years ago. He's a couple years older than I am, and he's looking at transitioning ownership of his company over the next couple years to someone else. Now it's probably going to be my nephew, but that
keep it in the family.
That would potentially be a business acquisition opportunity. So I mean, part of it I think is we just had so many over an extended period of time that it was maybe a brief pause.
Agreed. One of the things that I thought was very interesting, and that is that the business acquisitions for manufacturing is down 28%. We're focus on manufacturing, but it's down. But there's the big T word, tariffs, which is causing that to happen. So very interesting to see how that all shapes up. But I do think that Q4, I think, is going to be a good quarter for, frankly, every SBA department out there.
No, I agree 100%, Paul. And I call it the dog days of summer. I mean, in my lending career, you usually saw a brief slowdown during the summer months. And even in business, when I owned a business, the period of time coming into the start of a school year, guys, I'd see a drop in sales, a drop in revenue because parents were spending money on books and notebooks and clothes and things to get their child ready for school, and we're not spending it on other things. So it's temporary. And like I said, like Paul indicated, if we get a couple of rate drops, it'll re-energize. We'll have an incredibly strong finish to this year.
And our business broker friends will put that frown upside down, right?
Well, and so many people, Paul, want to blame it on the rule changes in the 50-10-8.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt it.
Yeah, we had these rules a couple years ago. before the 50-10-7 and 7-1 came out. And we were doing plenty of loans then. Yes, there have been some rule changes. Yes, things have tightened up a little bit, but it's not going to slow down SBA activity.
Agreed. Well, Lance, thanks for being with us today. And everyone, don't forget we are live Tuesday mornings right here on LinkedIn and YouTube and any platform where you get your podcasts. So check out our previous episodes and our other family of shows. Of course, the BDO show and the Art of SBA Lending. And definitely, if you need any title work, Res Title is a great place to go for that. I have quite a few deals right now with them, and they're doing very well. So I'll just give them that extra plug. So we will see you next Tuesday. Thank you, SBA Godfather Lance, for being on. And we'll see if Tanya's back next week, or if she gets chosen for a murder trial. We'll see what happens.
Have
a great day, everybody.
Have a good day.